All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 15 of New World Fantasy Football. Got a fun pod for you guys today, and we got somebody new coming on. This is Cory, who Paul knows through work and through fantasy football and all the other crazy endeavors I'm sure they've had. What's up, Cory?
How's it going? Thanks for having me. First time.
First-time podcaster.
You can't say long-time listener, but you are a first-time.
We don't have any long-time listeners. That's
first time.
But you're obviously a Bears fan, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking there should be a good cigar in your mouth because I believe that's a Jay Cutler jersey.
Yes. No cigars. We did order some pizza from Chicago. Just got in, so
Sweet.
We'll be eating throughout the pod, but no cigars today. Cigars for the weekend. Cigars for 7-8 weeks out. We are excited.
True. And what's going on then?
New baby
Showing up for football season. Take some time off of work. Really hone in on those early weeks.
Boy or girl you having?
The girl. It's a girl, and hone in on those early weeks. Infantry, of course.
Yeah. So what brings you into your Bears fandom?
The defense. However, I didn't realize we didn't have a quarterback, so I've been kind of watching that for the last 20 years. 03 Briggs Urlacher. But we might have one. We might have one this year. So we'll wait and see on that.
You might.
We might. 06 Super Bowl was tough. Losing to the Packers in the NFC Championship game, that was tough.
Yeah. 06 was the Colts year, right? Peyton Manning. Yeah. What were the two receivers from the Bears that year? Do you remember? I don't. I think it was Muhsin Muhammad was one of them, and I don't remember the other one.
All I remember all I really remember the Bears doing in that Super Bowl was Rex Grossman in the dirt a lot. And I remember Hester running it back. That's the two things I remember from the Bears in that Super Bowl. And I remember one of the few football bets I've actually won in my life. I bet this girl who was from Chicago a Subway sandwich that the Colts would win. So one of the most delicious sandwiches of my life. Shout out to Alexis, wherever you are.
Winner, Subway dinner.
Listening somewhere.
Cory messaged me on the side. You go ahead, tell him the other receiver because you know.
Yeah, well, I did not know. We had to look it up. Muhammad sounded right, and Berrien.
Yeah, was it Bernard Berrien? Was that his name?
Bernard Berrien.
Yeah, I remember.
Elite receiver core.
Yeah, they made it there for their defense. It was a fun Super Bowl because that was how it was touted for 2 weeks. It's like ultra offense versus ultra defense. Who's going to win? You know. And
Hester. That and Hester.
Yeah, and of course, Hester. Is he in the Hall of Fame yet? Not yet, right? He should be once his time comes. He really should.
He's on it. Year 3 now, I think. So
of retirement. So he needs more.
Year 3 of being eligible.
Oh, on the ballot. Okay, gotcha. He'll get there eventually. He really should.
Bubble.
I think he will.
But so let's talk about some of this news here. We actually have some to talk about. And we're obligated to talk about one of the better receivers in the league today, and you already know who that is, DeAndre Hopkins. So if you guys want to weigh in, what do you feel about this signing for NFL standpoint and, of course, for a fantasy standpoint?
I will let our esteemed guest give his thoughts first.
Okay. Well, first off, for DeAndre Hopkins, could be worse, could be better, but he got paid, so we're happy for him. Second off, I think this makes the Titans favorites in the South. That run game, that elite receiver, that defense, the best coach in the South.
Favorite.
Make them your favorites.
I like it.
Make them your favorites. They're underrated. 2 years ago, they were knocking on the door with the Chiefs. 3 years ago, they beat the Chiefs, if I recall. If I am mistaken there, it was right in that area. They were going toe-to-toe. So
it was a crazy game. I know which one you're talking about. I believe the
Yes.
Chiefs ended up winning that game, but yeah, Titans always seem to be better than the sum of their parts, and now their parts look a little better. So what do you think, Paul? Tell me about how you feel about fantasy.
Well, 3 years ago, I think Trevor Lawrence was in Clemson. So I think that there's a distinct difference in that division. Yeah, the Titans are better. Like, obviously, Hopkins was going to make any team that he joined better. It feels like more of a money move than a football move because I don't think it moves the needle for them enough to make them true contenders. Like, yes, we talked about it in the last episode that we did, or actually, I guess a couple episodes now, where I'm not going to like talk about Henry's downfall until I see it. So I don't think Henry's completely falling off a cliff. But it is an offense that is centered around him still, centered around the running game. I think Tannehill is fine, but I certainly don't think anybody would call him elite. So no, I think that they're definitely solidified as top two in the division. I think the other two teams are butt, unfortunately for me. But no, I don't think that makes them decidedly better than Jacksonville. I still think Jacksonville is going to be the class of the division because of the quarterback play, and I just feel like they're just kind of more on the rise. Nuke is great. I think he does elevate that offense, and from a fantasy perspective, he's commanded big time targets everywhere that he's gone. You know, I think Trey Burke I think he's very talented, but it still remains to be seen if he can be a number one receiver. So I definitely think it's interesting from a fantasy perspective. Like, Andrew, what do you like? Where do you think this kind of places Nuke in terms of like where he should be drafted in your mind?
I kind of like him I still like him as a wide receiver, like low end 2, 3, or high 3. Reason being because I just don't see the passing volume in that offense. You know, I'll check out Tannehill's stats, but you know, he's never really been like a super high volume passer throughout his career. And, you know, just doing the trickle down effect of math. Yeah, of course he's going to be the target leader on the team. If he's not, then that's silly because he's the best receiver on the team. But I got kind of a rebuttal question for you, Paul, because I do feel like Cory has something there with them being favorited. Maybe they're not, but it's very, very, very close. Just, you know, Vegas is going to have to adjust their stuff, right? Who's better? Just real quick, Henry or Etienne?
Henry.
Hopkins or Calvin Ridley?
Hopkins.
Christian Kirk or Treylon Burks?
Kirk.
And that one now I would agree there, but it's not by that much anyway. Their weapons are kind of better, I would say, for Tennessee. Their quarterback's not.
Lawrence is better, and the reason why. So I said what I said, and I see what you're doing with that, but to me, Lawrence is better than Tannehill, and that's worth more than the other three combined.
That's a fair assessment. And the coaching.
What about coaching?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doug Peterson's a good coach, but Vrabel's a fantastic coach.
Vrabel's really good. I think Doug Peterson is good too.
Yeah, Doug Peterson is good. He's a jerk, but he's good. I just don't like him because he came from the Eagles. But so okay. Hopkins, Cory, where are you taking Hopkins? Where do you feel comfortable taking him around like around like in fantasy? What range do you think you're comfortable taking him now?
If it's PPR, I'll take him a little bit earlier. If it's standard, I think I'm going to take him probably, you know, after some of those running backs that we expect to get the majority of the carries. And then you have a lot of people that maybe DJ Moore, for example, other receivers, Christian Watson, who might not get the volume, but are they just better overall if they're the number one guy? Not to say he's not, but I think when it gets time to inside the 20, it's going to be a lot of Treylon Burks. It's going to be a lot of Chiggy. It's going to be a lot of Henry.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. So let's talk about these running backs. And we've touched on this topic before, Paul, but like now what we knew was going to happen officially happened. My boy Saquon, he's on the franchise tag. Josh Jacobs on the franchise tag. Pollard on the franchise tag. Joe Mixon got restructured, taking a pay cut. Miles Sanders got what, a whopping $6 million, $7 million, whatever it was, in Carolina. And these guys just aren't getting paid. How are you feeling about the way that goes? And I know it's hard when we're over here sitting being I know Paul's not a millionaire. Cory, I don't know, maybe you are. But
he's on his way. He's got a contest under his belt.
Okay.
Nobody knows what that means.
So I'm gonna assume none of us are millionaires here,
No.
but it's money looks different to them. You know, they're doing things in the 7 and 8 figure range where we're not. So it's important to them, and they're not getting paid what they feel is fair value. So what do you guys think about what's going on with that position right now in terms of them not getting paid?
Let me ask you,
fair.
did you want them to give Saquon a deal?
No.
Exactly. I think that's what it is. And unless they change the collective bargaining or they get rid of the franchise tag, it is what it is, as Saquon said.
Right, exactly. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, like I have no choice but to agree with that because that's the truth. It is what it is. You know, I don't think anybody can deny that. That's just the nature of the economics of pro football right now. My question is, Cory hit it on the head, the collective bargaining agreement. We've had a couple collective bargainings during this trend. Everyone has seen this trend. Everyone knows this trend. And this is not new. It's been going on for some time. And there's supposed to be a union of these workers that are supposed to be protecting these workers, right? If you leave it in the hands of the ownership groups and the media partners, obviously quarterbacks are going to get paid a lot of money, receivers are going to get paid a lot of money, pass rushers are going to get paid a lot of money, offensive linemen are going to get paid a lot of money, everybody else can go pound sand, right? And you know, we think of these values of dollars being, you know, a ton of money to us, and yes, it's a ton of money to everybody, but when you compare it to the NFL's revenue, the players get the lowest percentage of any pro sport, right? Like, look at Messi in soccer and what he just did in a lower league. Look at baseball, look at basketball. Like, so yes, like when you compare it to a random schlub like me, yeah, that's a ton of money. But when you're talking about what pro sports generate in terms of revenue in this country, it really isn't very much at all. And so, you know, something has to change with it. Yes, running backs break down early. Yes, they've realized that the running game is not what it used to be, and it's not the path to victory that I think we pretend that it is. So it does get devalued by the economics, but I believe that there's supposed to be a system to balance those economics with the players, and they're not doing their job. I am not into the players union. I don't think that they are really there to protect the players.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And I think it's safe to say that Messi wasn't worried about those BOGOs at Publix the other day either.
Yeah, I know, dude. Hell, you're too rich to be shopping for your own groceries, bro. Come on. It's like, even I get my shit delivered sometimes, and I'm broke as hell.
He just walked in and he's like, "This is Florida."
This is Florida. He walked into peak Florida,
right?
That just goes to show the Publix is the go of grocery stores. You know, or you can keep a little Midwest Kroger, whatever y'all got going on out there, Piggly Wiggly. I don't know what the deal is, but the Publix is the go.
We enjoy Publix.
Yeah,
no slander here.
Publix is fantastic.
I know I waxed poetic there on the running backs thing. Like, does that make sense? Like, are you guys like, are you with that at all? Do you like disagree?
Well, I'll just say this. We're looking at right now the running backs are essentially the janitors of the league. You know, you can be the most badass janitor in the world, and you're still going to get like a mild, you know, livable income. And you can be fine off that. But like your below average tech programmer is still going to outperform you financially by like 4x, 5x, you know, and that's just the position they hold. And I think it sucks because we as fantasy players too, it's annoying to be like, is this guy going to hold out? Is that guy going to hold out? I doubt it because it still is their best option to just play.
Running backs are more important to us than they are to the NFL teams.
Yeah, that's true. You know, they want to, well, if we want as fantasy players just to have everything wrapped up nice and say, okay, I know that Saquon's going to be there week 1. I know Pollard's going to be there week 1. I know Jacob's going to be there week 1. I don't think they have much leverage either because the last time I think it was a collective bargaining or something like that, they made these fines crazy for them missing time. I think it's like $600,000 a game that they'd be missing.
Yeah.
So it still is their best option is just to show up and play, even as disgruntled as they may be. What do you think, Cory?
I mean, I don't think holding out's going to do any good for anybody. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, he got paid, but that might be the last one we see like that. And we saw what he did after the fact. And Pacheco's 7th-round pick. It sucks. Yeah. I think the only way to get around it is probably going to be the franchise tag, where, you know, if you're getting drafted 3rd, 4th round, you only have like a couple years on your deal anyways. So if you're a 1st-round pick, you're going to be getting paid, and then, hey, only 4 years, and then.
Yeah.
I think that's the big solution because you're going to get running backs paid after 3 years instead of 6 because they're going to get paid before their deal's up.
If I'm a running back now, I would rather go in the later rounds than the top rounds because the chance is if I only get 2 years, 3 years, whatever on my rookie scale, I might be able to get like my second payday. JT is probably won't either, but is in a better spot to get a contract because he's coming up on his arbitration sooner than he normally would, but based on his age. It's just crazy, man. They got to do something different with that. Like, you know, if it comes down to just making rookie contracts more performance and incentive based, then that's what you got to do. But the union has to do something about it. Like it's never going to come from the league. The only way that it's going to happen generally is the threat of a strike. You know, they're like the NFL doesn't give yesterday's shit about a running back holding out on one specific team. But if they're concerned about a strike and they're concerned about losing potentially billions of dollars, they'll pay attention at that point. That's the only way anything changes.
I'm not going to quit watching though. Right here. I'm not going to quit watching though if that's the case.
No, you won't quit watching.
The CFL, the XFL, somebody will take their place and somebody will average 4 yards a carry.
Yeah. Somebody's going to be willing to come off, you know, the couch, proverbial couch, if you will. You know, it's not like there's always going to be somebody willing to do that job because it's a highly paying job and you get to be a superstar. You get to have your name out there. Yeah, it's a tough situation. The only thing I can think of that might work for the running back position specifically is like, if they make those rookie contracts maybe 2 years coming in for all running backs across the board, or you know you do something where it is like a incentive based commission type job, you know, for the running backs. Like if you reach 1,500 yards, you get paid a certain amount. If you reach double-digit touchdowns, whatever, maybe that's a way to kind of.
Why not for everybody?
Yeah, and of course there are deals that have that built into them for all positions, but I don't know. I don't know. That's all I can say. I really just don't know. I think it sucks for them, and it sucks for us fantasy players wanting some clarification on these things. So
Yeah.
I think that's enough about that, man. Let's talk about these freaking division or this division. One of the most fun divisions in fantasy, if you ask me, is the NFC North. So we're going to be starting off with the Bears, since they were a paltry 3-14 last year. And of course, we got to go to our resident Bears fan here, Cory. Man, give us some insight into this team.
So this team started off 2-3 last year. So the talent is there, the team is there, the coach is there. Start with the quarterback. We got one. Justin Fields, running back. Who took the leap last year? Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's go ahead and keep him in that top 5, top 8 discussion. Make him a starter and don't look back. You don't need anybody else. Your floor is going to be 15 a week. A 15 a week floor. That's great. Running back is going to be a little tricky. I expect Khalil Herbert to be the guy. Had 1 start last year, 30 carries, running back 1 on the day. We got a great offensive line, but it's going to be anybody's game. Receiver, we got DJ Moore, got Darnell Mooney looking good in the offseason, and we got Chase Claypool, who has put it up before. He's in a big body. He's in a contract year. The coach, the team, they want him to succeed because we traded the draft capital. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there between Mooney and him. I think we're going to use Cole Kmet quite a bit, but we're also going to use what's his name? Packers tight end we brought in.
Tunyon?
I am blanking. Tunyon is going to be Jimmy Graham. I think he's going to get like 4, 5, 6 touchdowns. A lot of two tight end sets. That's the Bears. I was going to say defense will keep us in it. I think we have a chance for 9-8. Easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah.
Easiest schedule in the league. Let's go for it.
That's important. That's important too.
So Cory doesn't just think they have a chance for 9-8. Cory has bet some monetary funds on them going 9-8 with me.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting to see. I suffice it to say that I took the under on that bet. Cory took some money off me last year, so I owe him one back.
Paul, the only bet you ever won was for a Subway sandwich. Maybe you should chill out with it.
No, that's cool. I like steak dinners, even if I'm paying for them. Yeah, so I guess Cory, that's I think that was a great breakdown, by the way. But I think that's like the question that most people will have is that like, okay, cool, like yes, we expect Justin Fields to be better than he was in his rookie season. I think most people expect that. It looks like Khalil Herbert should be the first guy up from a running back. I think everybody knows DJ Moore should be the number one, in terms of just talent there. But like Darnell Mooney was kind of a fringe wide receiver 3 guy last year. Like, can he maintain that value? Or like, is the passing game kind of really going to only support one consistent guy? Like, what's your feelings on that?
There's a good chance the team decides they want to run it, play some defense, and nobody's really effective, truth be told. Justin will be effective, but I wouldn't be shocked if everybody got 3 to 4 to 5 catches and 50 to 60 yards and a scattered touchdown here or there. Or I think DJ Moore, one of the guys, will just come out and emerge as far as a PPR machine or, 10 touchdowns over the top.
A very political answer. All right, well, let's put it to the test in terms of where DJ Moore's value is. Well,
let me jump in here real quick, Paul.
Yeah.
Before we do any kind of name games that you like to play, I've got kind of both sides of the coin on this. So I think Fields in fantasy is incredible value this year. He's going like in the 5th or 6th round, somewhere in that range, depending on what kind of league you're in. But Cory already alluded to it. For the quarterback position, he has the second best schedule. So their strength of schedule is like very weak. He's got a nice path this year to put up some big points. I averaged his last 10 games of the year in terms of fantasy points. He started off kind of like shaky. He had a few good games in there, but it was shaky. After he started to get his footing, he averaged 24.1 fantasy points per game over the last 10 games that he played. So to put that in perspective, Mahomes averaged 24.5. Hurts was the best, 25.2. He was the best in the whole league. Josh Allen was 24.7. If you're telling me that I can get almost identical production in the 5th or 6th round, I don't have to pay a second or maybe early 3rd round pick to get that production in fantasy, I'm taking it every time. In terms of their weapons, that's where I don't love it. I mean, I like Khalil Herbert. We'll see if he holds on to the job. I know that they drafted a guy, Roshan Johnson. Who knows, rookie running back. You never really know how much he's going to be used.
They have Dante Foreman now. They have
Foreman as well. So we'll see what kind of rotation they have. I like Herbert the most, but I'm not going to reach for him. Their weapons, DJ Moore, Mooney, Claypool. I don't really love any of them. Of course, DJ Moore's more than likely going to be the one there. I think it's pretty obvious he's going to be the one there, right? So Fields' passing stats as a rookie, 1,870 yards, 7 touchdowns. Okay, he grew in his second year, right? He played more games. He was more efficient. He was a better player. He had 2,242 passing yards, 17 touchdowns. If we can say a fair goal for him is 3,000 passing yards, and I'll presume that it's DJ Moore as their wide receiver 1. If I give him a 25% target share, that comes out to 750 yards and 7 touchdowns based off the average yardage per touchdown that is typical.
Woof.
I'm not gonna take my 5th round, 6th round pick for a guy who just doesn't have the upside in that type of offense. That's kind of where I'm at with their pass catchers. I think Cole Kmet is like your every other touchdown dependent tight end. How many touchdowns does Justin Fields have in him? As I said, it was 7, which, whatever, rookie year. 17. What does he get? 20, 24? Somewhere in that range. I'm just pretty much out on all their weapons. I want Justin Fields on that team, and I'm okay with drafting Herbert, and that's really it.
Yeah, I like that breakdown. That's that's very helpful math to do, really, to try to figure out, like, okay, what is this passing offense going to look like? When you think of like the most ridiculous target shares in the game, like think of Devontae Adams, right? Like they sneak up kind of close to 30%. But you're right. Like if your quarterback is not sniffing 4K, it's tough to support 1,000-yard receivers. So that's interesting. Cory, hearing all that, what does that kind of make you think about?
I hear what you're saying. It's going to be his, I think, first year under the same head coach, same offensive coordinator. Since he's gotten to the league, he's got some actual weapons around him now, not Mooney as a 1. And did you guys tell me who his 2 was last year?
Velus Jones? Velus Jones?
You could name anybody. It was Claypool at the end. It was Velus Jones in the middle. So he's got some weapons. He's done the passing. He did it at Ohio State. He put up 3,200 yards in 14 games, so he can do it. And like I had said at the beginning, Jalen Hurts just did it. He might not make the same leap, but it's possible. So, but I hear what you're saying.
And I want to make it clear too, Cory, I am projecting growth for him. It's just a question of how much growth he has as a passer. I think as a total player, he is absolutely going to light it up and be a major plus for the Bears. It's just his fantasy weapons I don't love taking them in the range they're going because they don't have the upside to me the way that offense runs. That's all.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I could be wrong. DJ Moore can
And
be a
there's-
1,000-yard receiver all day.
There's a lot of receivers in that same range, so it's kind of pick your poison, pick who you want, and I think you have your side of it that's not wrong, and it's also kind of like where is it going to fall with him being under that new quarterback, under that new system in a run first system.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Cory, I know that you were just here to give us your Bears insights. Am I allowed now to do my name game and
Go for it, man.
Okay, before we close this out on Chicago,
Just do it with Cory though.
I'm gonna do it with Cory. I do like to put
He's like,
content, right? I think I end up with Fields on a lot of my mocks. I love Fields, right?
Yeah.
Are you taking Fields or Lamar?
Lamar.
Andrew?
Are we including ADPs, or are we talking about just flat?
Yeah, so just flat out for quarterbacks, since there's so much space in between
Lamar.
them.
I'll take
Okay.
Lamar.
Okay. I'll take Fields at the discount. I'll take a round discount on Fields because honestly, I like Lamar. I don't see them as being like functionally very different players for fantasy. All right. So are we taking DJ Moore or my favorite Mason Dixon line, Jerry Jeudy?
I know for
Taking
me,
DJ Moore.
he's going DJ.
Yeah,
What
not
did you
taking
say, Paul?
Jerry instead of
Jeudy?
Moore.
Man,
Yeah.
that's a tough one. That's a good one because Jerry Judy's a big question mark too. I'm gonna go with Jeudy just because, as much as Russell Wilson sucked, at least he does have established chemistry with him. And on the end of the year, Jerry Jeudy really started to break out.
DJ Moore or Drake London?
DJ
Take
Moore or
DJ
Drake London?
Moore.
He wants DJ Moore. Go ahead,
I'll still
Cory.
take him. I'll still take DJ Moore.
You take DJ Moore. Okay. Yeah, I think I'd take DJ Moore because I can see a world where Atlanta's even more run heavy than Chicago, and maybe, just maybe, Kyle Pitts becomes their number one target. It's a possibility. I don't think anybody's threatening DJ Moore for number one target hog in Chicago.
What about Calvin Ridley?
DJ, you know I'm not into Calvin Ridley.
Why are you out?
I don't really trust a player that hasn't played in 2 years, and I was never the biggest Calvin Ridley fan to begin with, even on his Falcon days.
He's in Atlanta. He's close to the situation.
Okay.
My ears to the ground every day. I'm close enough to Jacksonville too. I can hear vibrations.
You got too much exposure to Ridley right now. Then that's what I'm hearing. Boots
All
on
right.
the ground.
I think
You know
the
what?
running back is going to be an interesting one too.
He's just a major question mark. That's all. And a lot of it for him is ADP. If he's going in the 5th round, which I believe that's like the range he's going right now, I'm scared of that. I feel like there's other players in that range that I feel a lot more confident in.
I think you would be shocked. At least, I mean, we use Fantasy Pros, Cory, just for our, like for doing this for this
General
purpose.
reference point.
He's going low, man. I mean, like, okay, so or at least by my thought process, Khalil Herbert or AJ Dillon.
I mean,
Khalil.
I'm going Khalil.
Khalil Herbert or Antonio Gibson.
Khalil.
Yeah,
I think Khalil's going to be the number one guy.
Yeah, give me Herbert because I've seen Herbert on multiple occasions like be a stud.
Khalil Herbert or Javonte Williams.
Khalil. Not from that injury.
Yeah, the only way I'm taking I think this goes for everyone. If we know Javonte's healthy, it's Javonte, but I'm not going to believe that till he's actually on the field playing a game.
Khalil Herbert or DeAndre Swift.
Take Swift.
I'm taking Herbert. I don't want injury boy DeAndre
Man,
Swift.
I still haven't found Andrew's floor here. Khalil Herbert. I think you like Khalil Herbert more than you're saying, based on this. Khalil Herbert or David Montgomery, his ex-teammate.
I want Montgomery all day, and we'll talk about that. We're getting there.
We found it. And then I hate talking about tight ends. Andrew, you can talk about tight ends if you want.
To me, Cole Kmet is a touchdown dependent dude who's going to average like 3 receptions a game and isn't all that athletic. So, yeah,
Tonyan's there to take them at the end too. Those touchdowns.
Yeah, you have that. I've kind of already talked about not wanting any part of that passing game. I especially don't want the tight ends.
Yeah, he's a decent best ball pick. Stack him with Fields at the end of your draft and see what happens. But on a season long, honestly, tight end is such a wasteland. Just put a blindfold on, throw a dart at a board, and have fun. Cory, I think we've kept you enough here chatting about your Bears. This was fun. What sage advice do you want to leave the people of our league?
Continue to stick with Sleeper.
So I will say that it was Cory's recommendation to go to Sleeper. So when the app breaks next year, you can blame him. That's Cory.Howell@techsystems.com.
Won't break.
Bear down, man. Bear down.
Thank you guys.
All right, man. Good meeting you. Good talking to you. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
See you, man. All right. Well, it was great having a guest here who's a diehard Bears fan. Yeah, the over/under in Vegas is 7.5, and I think you're gonna win that bet, Paul.
I think so too. This man was wild saying 9 wins. Like, I know they will be better. They will be better. But man, that
teams turning around quick in the NFL. We've seen it many times. But
that crack cocaine in Chicago must be strong, boy. Sheesh.
Man, they infuse it into deep dish pizza. You don't even know it's there. But all right, man, that's enough about the Bears.
Yeah,
I am super, super, super excited to talk about the cheese-headed Packers, man. I am so ready.
Talk about the Packers?
I am. And do you want me to just go for it and tell you why?
Yeah, I would love to know why you're excited to talk about the Packers, because I'm not.
Okay, that's exactly why I am, because I am the contrarian in the world. I think the Packers are undervalued as a whole. I think that
this year's Seahawks.
I guess so. If you want to use that comparison, I think that's fair. Maybe not exactly, because their receivers are not as established. Their quarterback does not have the same experience as Geno does. Yeah, Geno kind of came out of nowhere last year, but he still has plenty of NFL experience under his belt.
Right.
Anyways, I don't talk about Geno Smith. I believe Jordan Love is better than we want to believe. And the evidence of that is simply the only evidence I have, anecdotal evidence. The Packers have seen this man play, albeit in practice in like one game, for 3 years now. Is it 3 or 4? Whatever. At least 3 years now.
I think this is season 3.
So he's been sitting behind Rodgers for a significant amount of time. They feel comfortable moving forward with him as their bona fide starter. And I think their coach is decent. I think their defensive coach is really stupid, but their offensive coach is good. Coordinator is good. I think we have a good offensive mind in LaFleur, and I just think this team is going to be similar to what we talked about with the Titans. I think they're a better team than this. Like they're better than the sum of their parts. You know, I do feel like we're really undervaluing guys like Aaron Jones when the dude is just a pro running back who can receive the ball very well. And I think they're going to rely on that a lot. I think Christian Watson is a speedster. He's a tall guy who's also a speedster. He can do things on an NFL field that a lot of guys can't do. So they're going to rely on that a lot too. You know, they drafted a tight end in the second round who's very athletic, and Luke Musgrave. Now, I'm not saying go out and draft him in fantasy, but I do think that he's going to help the Packers right away. And I think Romeo Doubs is a pretty damn solid number 2 receiving option on that team. Well, really number 3, because Aaron Jones is number 2, if not number 1. I just think they're undervalued across the board. And that's it. I'm excited. I think we're going to get good value out of the Packers this year.
And Andrew, you make a good point. Yes, like I think that there is definitely something to be said about zigging when everybody else zags in fantasy. And that's something that I've honestly kind of had a problem with before, just in the way that I've drafted. Like, I have definitely let myself get spooked off of certain players, certain teams, like, and just as an example, right? Like, so, I think this was the 2020 year. I had a fucking nightmare with receivers, with bad quarterbacks. I saw so many damn balls hit the dirt, not even within a 12-yard radius of their receiver, than I think that I could stomach in my whole lifetime. And because of that experience, where I drafted a bunch of what I thought were talented receivers in bad quarterback situations, and I got absolutely destroyed as a result of that, I think it spooked me off of those a lot, which was last year it caused me to absolutely completely fade the Browns and ignore the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what happened, right? There was, they weren't like, okay, like was DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson? No, but there was value to be had. There was scoring to be done, and they actually like put some points up on the board. So I think you make a good point, and that's something that we have to remember, that somebody's got to score the fucking points. Somebody has to score the points.
Yep.
And
that's
so,
exactly. Sorry, go ahead. You finish up.
I was going to say, so if we're all fading the same team, there's a certain point where you have to make, like you said, the true value conversation. Be like, hold up. Aaron Jones is too damn good to be going in the 5th round or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
You have to be that guy that puts his foot down last year and be like, no, I'm not going to let Nick Chubb fall any further than the 3rd round. Like, because that's just ludicrous because he's so good. So, yes, I completely agree with you. That's a very good player. Now, I will make a counter argument as a devil's advocate. Maybe they really believe in Jordan Love. Maybe them trading Aaron Rodgers away was a way to make a path for Jordan Love to play. But it could just as easily be, this is not the guy that's going to lead us to the playoffs. This is the guy that's going to lead us to Caleb Williams. It could just easily be that they are just accepting a total tank year.
I think if that was the case, they'd be cutting Aaron Jones, and they'd be trading some of their other older pieces, and they haven't done that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, and you mentioned some exciting pass catchers. Christian Watson is as exciting as they freaking come, man. Like, I love Christian Watson. You saw me go the full fab splooge on him last year. Because I just, he has a gear that very few guys in the game ever have in terms of like his speed and his quick twitch ability, but not like, I wouldn't say that he's a proven receiver, and I wouldn't say that like he runs the cleanest route tree that you can ever imagine, right? So I think there's question marks. There's definitely question marks, but there is fantasy value to be had, and let's freaking dive in, man. Let's talk about that fantasy value. Let's contextualize it. Let's do the whole thing.
Yeah. So, and based on what you said, and I know you know this, but this is just a reminder to you and everybody, you have to gamble on unproven players to win in fantasy. That's what the breakout is. So if you get those breakouts, you're exponentially increasing your chance of winning the league. If you're playing fantasy to come in third or fourth, stop playing. Because that's not, to me, there's no point. If you're not first, you're last. That's my mentality. You got to take the gamble. And to me, a lot of Packers are worth that gamble. I'm not going to say go and draft Jordan Love in the 4th round. I think he's pretty much off everybody's board. He's not even going drafted. I guarantee you people are going to be looking to pick him up at some point this year. I feel very confident in that. And there will be competition. You will not see a free waiver claim for Jordan Love. There will be some money spent, some fab money spent on Jordan Love. And I'm not even a Jordan Love truther. I just think that he's going to be better than we think.
Well, especially if he flashes some wheels, Andrew. Like he's supposed to have some wheels, and obviously we know what that means from a fantasy perspective. So it's like if he can pass enough to make that part of his game worth it, like I could see that too. I could see that too.
And like kind of to put this in like easy Madden terms, I guess, I wouldn't say that he is a scrambling archetype, but I would say that he is an improviser. He's not afraid to use his legs. He will use his legs, but that's not what he's looking to do. And that's okay. Some of the biggest plays in football is you see it all the time. Guy gets outside the pocket and he finds somebody downfield. That happens a lot. I think that's Jordan Love's style, So I like the Packers this year. I don't know. I don't think they're going to win the division. I still think they come in third, but the way it's being looked at right now, at least from a fantasy perspective, is it's Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears. You know what I mean? But I think it's closer to like Vikings, Lions, Packers, like right there, and then Bears. You know what I mean?
Since we didn't bury the lead, and since you already gave your division prediction, can I give my division prediction?
Yeah. So sorry, I know I should have said that to the end, but that was just to put it in perspective of like what the perception is.
It's Vikings, Lions. I will say Bears, Packers.
Okay.
And I'm down on the Packers. I just, like I said, from a fantasy perspective, I definitely feel what you're saying, that there is going to be value. And I think that, if everybody fades certain players, certain teams, like you're going to get value for them 100%. But I just like the other 3 teams more. I think those other teams are actually better.
Sure. And that could be true. But I also want to say this in terms of fantasy, and a reason why I do like Packers and I think they're being undervalued. Look at the defenses in that division, dude. The Vikings were shit on defense. The Lions were pretty damn bad. And the Bears were also pretty damn bad. So are they all going to make
how Cory kept saying defense? And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I was like, 2005 was a long time ago.
Since 86, Bears fans always believe they're going to have the best defense in the league. But, they're not a good defense currently. I'm sure they've improved. They've all probably improved a bit.
They do have some pieces. Trading away homeboy, whose name escapes me now.
Roquan Smith?
Yeah.
He's on the Baltimore now, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why you got what I'm trying to say on the Packers.
Yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit about A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
People last year were excited about him. I see
why.
They
sure were. He went in the 4th round, I believe.
Yeah, he was obviously overdrafted last year. Yeah, I think it's going to be more of the same, man. I think they're going to mix both in, but Aaron Jones is just going to be the big play threat that, and we're probably going to see a lot of times where Aaron Jones is split out wide or in the slot and Dylan is in the backfield. They're going to get Aaron Jones on the field a lot. He's probably the one I'm most excited about. He's a friggin' value this year. That's it. I'm done talking about Packers. You heard my point.
Okay, well, I can't let you get away without the name game, number one. And two,
all right, my favorite. Let's do it.
I will also add that I think A.J. Dillon is a fine player, but I think that the fantasy community just needs to accept that he's not going to usurp the 3-down running back role. Like, they don't have a 3-down running back role. He's going to have some big games. We saw him have some big games even last year. Like, he's going to have some big games, particularly on games when they get 5 and in a couple times. Like, that dude is as advertised. He's a Hoss, certified Hoss.
Yeah, he's a huge mofo.
Yeah, so but I think that's the role that he plays in, where he's not. It's not fair to say he's a hammer. That's not his role. Like, he's more than that, but he's much more of the downhill runner, and he'll add a little bit of passing, but all right, regardless, we'll start with your boy AJ. Put that tramp stamp on your back. I know you love this man, so let's see.
Hey, that is my initials anyway, so it's all good.
There you go. I was trying to think of a good AJM thing for Aaron Jones, but that's okay. All right, so let's just see how much we love him. So right now, Aaron Jones is pretty much projected to be around that 3rd round turn. Stu, are you taking Aaron Jones? I know the answer already, but for the people, Aaron Jones or Joe Mixon?
Man, that one's actually gotten very close for me because I know Mixon's going to be there, and he does. Despite everything I just said about the Packers, the Bengals are still a better offense. So, yeah, honestly, I'm probably still going to go Mixon there, but it's close.
Wow, I did think I knew that. Actually, I would go Mixon too, and I'm a little lower on Aaron Jones than you are because he's proven in his career that he's going to be a little bit more high variance of a player, which, again, season long, his stats are always solid, and he does actually have good durability. But just like the archetype of player that I draft early, I usually like to see a little bit of a better high consistency ranking. But let's just keep going. Let's keep going with the name game. All right, so Aaron Jones is somewhere in the range where you might be looking at a Travis Etienne.
Yeah, Aaron Jones.
Okay. I mean, obviously there's receivers in this range too, but keeping it with the running backs.
Yeah.
Najee's
close, but I'd go Aaron Jones.
Okay. That one's tough for me.
I think Jaylen Warren's getting on the field more than we realize. That's all I'll say.
You know what? That one would be a hair split for me, but I will go with Aaron Jones because I think he's just a better player, even though I think Najee Harris's volume is safer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so now, just to kind of round it out, because I hate with the name game that we only talk about running backs, but of course that's not your only decision you could possibly make right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, go ahead. Throw some receivers or whatever in there.
Aaron Jones or Chris Olave?
I want Olave.
Yeah, we're agreed there. So it sounds like Aaron Jones's ranking actually is pretty much where it sounds like both of us would be in consideration for taking him. I think that those names are pretty cool.
He's a guy that if I get him in the 4th, I'm ecstatic to get him.
He may not though. He may not.
He might not. It depends. We'll see.
So I think
it's more of a question of which guys around his range get bumped up after preseason and training camp.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's
That's
kind of
fair.
where he's going to settle. Is I think more dependent on what's going on around him. You know,
The first report, which every year you get these reports, man. The first report that you see that comes out that says Javonte Williams looks faster than ever. Shoo! To the fucking
yeah,
moon.
yeah. I mean, I want to thank Patrick Mahomes for touting Kadarius Toney's
Yes.
terrible
Yes.
receiver. He could be the number one receiver. Get the fuck out of here, bro. He's obviously stroking the guy's ego that needs to be stroked. Come on now, get out of here with that shit.
I mean, well, it's just like it's the preseason is. I know that we call the draft lying season. I think preseason is exaggeration season. That's what I call it.
Without a doubt. So
I think the more polarizing player is Christian Watson. Because I see like feelings and takes about him kind of all over the place. So I think this is going to be a more interesting name game.
Well, Kaysen said it in our last podcast that he's either I'm out on Christian Watson. I'm like, good. I hope there's more people that are out on Christian Watson.
I noticed you didn't say shit, you dirty dog.
I just did. He'll hear soon. I'll say it to his face.
What's up, Kaysen?
Over the internet.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's play this name game. Christian Watson or Tyler Lockett?
I want Watson.
Yeah, me too. That one's
give
close.
me the number one on the offense.
That one's close, and I think that he's high variant. I literally am. I'm contradicting myself here about high variance players because I think Christian Watson is like the most high variance player of all time. But I just have a special place in my heart for him for whatever reason.
Well, Lockett is too.
Yeah, true. That's
Lockett
fair.
doesn't get a deep bomb, and it kind of like it doesn't have a great game.
Okay, so let's do a safer floor guy. And let's do a little Christian on Christian crime.
I want McCaffrey. I want McCaffrey for.
Yeah. He's in a different class of Christian. If we were doing like a power ranking of Christians in the NFL, he's in a rank of his own.
So, what are you thinking, Christian Kirk?
So yeah. If you'd have let me finish, Kirk or Watson.
Yeah, give me Watson.
You know what? I think I would take Kirk there. I like Kirk a lot, and I'm with you that I'm not a big Ridley guy either. Partially because he burned me the 1 year I drafted him in fantasy.
Good to me, Calvin.
Exactly. So I think I think he's a safer pick, but I can definitely it's definitely justifiable to go with Watson. Okay, so let's get a couple different skill sets in here. So you come around to this area, let's say you have a pretty balanced team, you can kind of go either way you want. I know you're not a big DeAndre Swift guy, but he's in that range. Swift or Watson?
Yeah, give me Watson. I haven't said Swift one time. I probably never will. I do not want DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I don't see him having a giant volume. Watson or Alex Madison?
Watson.
Madison. But you know that's another one of my guys. Did I talk about Pittman?
No.
What would you do there?
Watson. Give me the guy. Give me the guy who can just break off huge plays. Like that's not Pittman.
No, yeah,
especially not with Anthony Richardson.
I'll take the upside.
Yeah, I want the upside. And especially if we're looking at my wide receiver 2 or 3, like give me a guy with upside, man. I want to win the league. I already talked about that. I want to win the league. I don't want to come in 3rd or 4th.
Watson or Jerry?
That one's closer, but I'm still going Watson. That Broncos offense has not been special.
No, but I don't think that the Packers offense will be special either.
Doesn't have to be, just to be better than the Broncos.
I'll take Jerry. But it's close. It's close. I just think Judy is a little bit more mature as a receiver, and I'm a Judy guy. I like his talent. Okay, so I think we're there. Another what I think is probably pretty fair ranking by Fantasy Pros.
Where do you see Romeo Doubs?
Dude, he's down, bro. He's down. I haven't even seen him yet. Where is this fool? Romeo Doubs or Sky Moore? That's actually an interesting comp.
Give me a guy who could potentially be the top target besides Kelsey.
Yeah.
On that team, on the Chiefs. Give me a piece of the Chiefs, and I'm gonna hope for the best.
Agreed. Romeo Doubs, Adam Thielen.
Shit. Neither.
This is a gross ranking here. Well, we only have to do one more. We'll just do one more. Dobbs or actually, I don't want to play anymore. Romeo Dobbs is we'll call Dobbs is a dart throw. When you're in the 140s and you think Romeo Dobbs has some upside, be my guest, homies.
Full PPR. He could be a good possession guy, but yeah, I just don't think he's going to have the target share. Those are really
all the Packers. Like obviously the tight end, right? I mean,
it's a rookie tight end. Just keep your radar up a little bit, and that's it. And he's not going to get drafted.
Yeah, I mean, rookie tight ends.
Yeah.
Are we good on the pack?
Yeah, we've spent enough time on the Packers, man. So, Lions, man, they were a really fun team last year.
They were
9-8.
Scored a lot of points and got scored on a lot.
Yeah, which is good for fantasy.
And this year, it's going to be more of the same.
It should be more of the same. I think their defense has improved, but not by enough to really threaten their offense or anything like that. So, go ahead and give me your opinion of the Lions.
I accidentally muted myself like a dweeb. It's a good thing I use video conferencing tools for work every damn day. Yeah, I mean, my opinion of the Lions really hasn't changed much. I don't think they've done really that much to differentiate themselves from last year to this year, which, again, we just talked about is not a terrible thing. It's a bummer about Jameson Williams. I would have liked to see what he would look like with a full season, fully healthy, 1 full year removed from that injury he had. I still think he's stashable. Don't tell anybody. Goff is going to capably run an offense and be a floor raiser like he's been. Amon-Ra is awesome. Stop thinking he's a fluke. Stop thinking he's a flash in the pan. He's here to stay. Love me some Amon-Ra. Marvin Jones is steady. I don't think there's really much necessarily to talk about there. I did think that the move of selling off TJ Hawkinson is weird. Like, I mean, I can kind of let you jump into that once we hop in here. I don't really understand why they did that. Like, it's a relatively young player that's been productive that fits their timeline, but whatever. I'm not the Lions, so the tight end's irrelevant to me. Right now, our lads has David Montgomery listed as the starter. I don't believe that's going to hold true for the rest of the season. Now he could be the starter, maybe on the ground, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs is the player to target in that backfield. in terms of productions, like the draft capital that they put into that man. I just don't see how they don't involve him heavily. So, did a lot of talking there. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with?
I would say I agree that it's going to be a really good offense. We live in a weird world of misconceptions and, at the end of the day, wrong perceptions, because we get these things in our head and we get locked up in our own brains of not wanting to change. Jared Goff, man, dude's going to be a value. People love Gibbs. Yeah, he's a running back. He's going to catch the ball a lot. People love amon-ra. People want to love Jameson Williams. Obviously, unfortunately, he's not going to be there till week 7. If Jameson Williams was available week 1, what do you think he's going? 4th round? 5th round, maybe?
I still think, he might, but I still think that would be a little rich for my blood, because I still think amon-ra being the incumbent receiver that already has like established rapport, I'm the kind of guy, draft capital aside, that I'm gonna give more importance, I guess that's not the word I'm looking for, but for lack of a better word, to that player than like the more exciting quote unquote incoming rookie. But yeah, I mean, he'd be up there.
How many pass attempts do you think Jared Goff had last year? Off the top of your head.
He had a ton. I don't have a number for that, but I know they were slinging and ringing out there.
587 times he threw the ball.
Oh my God. That's 2021 Brady-esque.
He had, let's see. He threw 29 touchdowns.
What was his ADOT though?
For Jared Goff, I don't have that in front of me. I don't even care though. I don't care. This offense is going to be a fast-paced offense. Their defense is not going to slow people down all that much. So I think Jared Goff is a value. I think that this team is going to be awesome for fantasy. And I think that both David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are actually undervalued. Now, let me just give you a stat here. Between Jamal Williams, and DeAndre Swift, take a guess on how many touches that's vacated.
Oh, shit.
Just throw a number out.
200?
Double that and add 19.
They spammed those RBs, bro. That's wild.
It's a testament to how fast they played, how many plays they ran. That's big for fantasy. So between Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, they vacated 419 touches, 25 touchdowns. It was the best team in fantasy, well, in football. Best environment for running backs.
Yeah, the crazier part too is that Jamal Williams was like,
he was the leading touchdown guy.
Yeah, I mean he was like a RB1 for a good chunk of the season.
He finished as an RB1 because he scored like what, 17, 18 touchdowns?
Yeah, something.
It was insane. It was insane.
Is that kind of worth a little bit, right?
Is that gonna repeat 100%? Well, no. But even if it gets close, dude, we're talking about David Montgomery, who's a better player than Jamal Williams, taking over that role. To me, if he's healthy, he feels like a lock for double-digit touchdowns. I will take that in the 8th round or whatever, 7th, 8th round, wherever he's going, all freaking day. And I believe
so what you're saying is Jameer Gibbs is the new DeAndre Swift. David Montgomery is the new Jamal Williams, where DeAndre is the more quote unquote explosive player, but gets cucked in the red zone.
maybe, but I also think that we're going to see Jameer Gibbs split out as a receiver plenty. You said it already. They didn't draft him at 12th overall to not use the guy. He is going to be on the field right away. They are going to play so fast that these guys have freaking value, man. And Amon-Ra is not a fluke. He's a super slot. He's great. He's going to get you double-digit targets every single week. And then Jameson Williams is going to come back and start taking the top off the defense. Only going to be more room for Amon-Ra, and only going to be more, they have to respect him, his speed. So he's pulling a safety in a corner on his side all the time. This team has tremendous value all over it. Go ahead.
So, and look, the ACL was not his fault, right? I'm not blaming that on the young man, but are you concerned at all that Jameson Williams might start becoming one of these what-if players that fantasy nerds like you and me slob over every August and they just don't end up delivering for us?
I'm definitely in the camp of it's a worry, but I'm not gonna be afraid of it yet. I think Jameson Williams will come back. He's gonna help Detroit. Maybe he doesn't go off for fantasy right away, but he's gonna help Detroit's offense.
Yeah.
He's a freaking burner. So, and I'm not worried about his speed being affected. He's young enough where the ACL, it sucks, but I don't think it's gonna hinder his speed all that much. He's young enough where it's fine.
No corner in the league can keep up with him. Only Bovada can slow him down.
Yeah, exactly. And he had that one flash last year where he caught a long touchdown. And man, Jared Goff threw him the ball. I had this in my notes towards the I said, if you punt QB early and take Goff late, you are totally fine. He could end up a top 10 quarterback. And that's facts. That could happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Look, the offense is really exciting. I think one of the weird side notes for me and a question I've got for you is they had the most productive running back tandem in the game last year. And then
they upgraded both their running backs.
Yeah, well, in their mind, I'm sure they did. But if they were so productive, why were they so fast to cut them? That's just, I don't know if there's really a fantasy spin to be put on that. That's just odd to me. That was just strange.
Because DeAndre Swift doesn't fit their culture because he's a dickhead. And I think that Jamal Williams was the beneficiary of good luck. And they didn't care about paying him. That's all. I think Montgomery's a better player than Williams, and I think that Gibbs is a better player than DeAndre. Obviously, I'm high on Detroit, man. I think they're going to be a pretty damn good, and I think there's plenty of fantasy value to be had in this team.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I like Detroit a lot too. Obviously, you always have to look at every season as its own thing, right? There's no reason on paper why Detroit can't just run it back. But there's always that concern. And there's always that thing that can happen, that they're just not the same team that they were last year. So I guess the only real prediction I can give to that is just don't go all in on a team based on what you saw the year before, because that's a dangerous trap that I've fallen into before. Because football is just fucking weird. Football's weird. it can be the exact same team on paper in theory, and then just look like they just completely forgot who they were.
Yeah, or you can be a better team and lose more games. It happens.
The game is played on paper.
Exactly, man. So give me a name game on some of these players, because I'm going to prove to you how much I love Detroit.
Jared Goff over Patty Mahomes.
Honestly, there's a chance that Jared Goff's probably on more of my teams because the ADP baked in.
To be fair, probably. We won't do it with Goff because I think with quarterbacks, it's kind of a, whatever. Like, Jared Goff is a guy that
he's free. He's free. And he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. He's free.
He's pretty much free. And, among the non-running quarterbacks, he should finish favorably. So let's go to the area where I think people are going to have more, conversations around.
More questions. Answer.
We just did this. Gibbs and Aaron Jones.
That's razor thin to me, but I mean, I'm going to take Aaron Jones in that situation, but it's close.
You sold me. I'm taking Gibbs. I'm taking the more high-scoring offense.
He has a chance to be Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, well, and obviously, we have no idea what he's going to look like in the NFL. We have no idea what his touchdown equity is going to look like. So, Gibbs, I think we'll find out through this game, is probably ranked fairly, but there's always that question mark with a rookie running back. I think that we've 180, right? We like rookie running backs as a fantasy community now, where we used to not like them so much. But there is that concern. You never know.
Yeah. So who else you got?
ETN.
Gibbs all day.
Gibbs all day. Not
all
even
all day, man. All day. Give me Gibbs.
Oh. Because I'm still a little I'm a little leery of Travis's body and just how slight he is. I think I probably would do Gibbs there, but certainly not an all day conversation. This one I feel like might be pretty easy for you. Ken Walk.
Gibbs. Paul's struggling to accept this one. I'll just tell you.
I'm gonna do Walker, and I'll tell you why. 2 reasons. 1, I've seen it on the NFL level. I've seen the talent. I know what the concern is. They put a lot of draft capital into another running back coming in, and that running back is going to take something away from him. But Jameer's in a timeshare too, right? And I'm going to give Walker the very slight edge here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm biased. I personally like him because he was on my team. But it's that one's close. That one's close.
Who is that running back? I know you know, but you gotta have to clarify on a fantasy podcast.
But really, for our fantasy degenerates that already know about Zach Charbonnet, Chardonnay.
Zach Charbonnet.
Name.
Zach Charbonnet is gonna. My projection is he's just gonna be a guy. He's not gonna be anything special, but he's still gonna be annoying.
The guy's soaking up carries, so I understand your concern there. Jameer Gibbs, Joe Mixon.
I want Gibbs.
Give me the volume. I'll take Mixon.
Yeah, I'm excited about Gibbs, and I feel like I just kind of really contradicted myself because I think in the Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon conversation, I said Joe Mixon. So it's so close with those guys.
So okay, this is actually a good segue and a side note here for everybody who's listening to us. There's 2 things to remember because Kaysen, when he was on here, made some sort of comment oh, I don't want to give away too many of my thoughts or secrets or whatever. There's two things with that. Number one, if you're drafting based on what you think another player is going to do in a draft, you ain't focused on the right things, homie. You gotta draft based on what you think and what you want. You're the one who's up on the clock.
Yeah, get your guys. Get the guys you like.
So that's number one. Two, dude, my mind changes every other freaking minute. Why do you think I can't set a lineup? Today, I might be all in on Jahmyr Gibbs. Tomorrow might be Montgomery. Shit, I don't know. If you're listening to me like to try to get like an advantage on me, good fucking luck, man, because I don't even have an advantage on me.
Yeah, I mean, my mind's going to change here and there. Shit, dude, all of preseason still has to happen.
Yeah.
So we're going to see. But, I mean, as of now, I really like all those guys all together. I'm excited for Gibbs. I'm probably, honestly, I changed my mind. See, I just did. I'm probably still taking Mixon and Jones ahead of him. But, man, if I'm in a draft and Gibbs is sitting there and those two guys are still sitting there,
you're sweating.
I might just take Gibbs. I don't know. Yeah. It's close. It's really close on those guys. So who else you got?
This is going to be a really fun draft for us, by the way. Just because you can't, the keeper element is going to make it that you can't really fully predict how the draft is going to, or at least.
Oh yeah, it's going to be wild.
You can never predict the draft anyway, but you can't even predict the first couple rounds. Like it's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting and different for sure. So
that hole will be tight.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're name gaming amon-ra. This is going to be a spicy one because this is a lot of these receivers are clustered together.
Yeah.
I think we just asked Payson this in the previous pod. Amon-Ra Wilson.
Give me Wilson because I think Wilson's got the wide receiver 1 spot locked up all season, where there is a chance that Jameson Williams just comes out and he's awesome, and he kind of takes a lot of targets away. So give me Wilson.
Same. Amon-Ra or Waddle?
That one's close. Man, that's really close. Give me Waddle. I want the chance at the big plays always.
Man, that's tough.
Yeah, they're both great. But...
I'll take Waddle too. Amon-Ra or AJ Brizzy?
AJ Brown? Yeah, give me AJ Brown. Once again, huge plays, touchdowns.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. Amon-Ra Olave.
Amon-Ra.
Same. Olave is the big plays, but Amon-Ra is going to get the tiebreaker for me. Being the rest of them guys that we just talked about were all from great offenses.
Yeah.
And ones I think will be a
Jets is projected to be a good offer. We're not 100% sure on the Jets.
Agreed. Okay. How are we feeling about Detroit? Should we name game Jameson Williams, or we're just gonna have to wait to see how that shakes out?
Nah, I don't want to play that game. All I will say is that he's worth a stash for sure.
I agree.
He's worth a stash. You said it already. He definitely is. Take your shot on that offense. Take your shot on that talent. If you feel comfortable waiting until week 7, and by the way, Detroit has a week 9 bye, so you're going to get 1 week where he's going to be rusty, and then another week, and then the bye. So it's like it feels almost like you're waiting till week 10.
Effectively, you are, because it wouldn't shock me if he kind of comes in there and is a little decoy-ish for his first snaps up there. And
at least we know he's not injured, so he can still. I don't know that suspensions. If I think you have to be out of the facility or something like that, but I'm sure he's going to stay in shape.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't think. I forget how it works. I think you can still, you're like at the facility, but like maybe you don't do group practice. I don't know. It's weird, but
We'll have to look that up.
You could potentially be getting a player that doesn't start helping you until the fantasy stretch run, which is scary because ultimately you're talking about a guy who, yes, like you're getting late in drafts, but like there's still in the 9-10 round range, there's still guys that can help your team, right? So
yeah, our keeper league will push him up a bit.
It will.
Because someone's going to be like, I'm going to get him for a fourth. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't want to say anything else. No. We'll see.
Someone's going to do it. I don't know if it'll be you. I don't know if it'll be me. Somebody is going to use look, that's what makes this draft so crazy is that because of that pressure,
it'll be Jeremy.
There's a potential keeper element to it. I think somebody's going to take that dive. I don't know if it'll be me. I don't know.
It'll be Jeremy.
I think we spent enough time on the never Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just want to say, last thing I want to mention, once again, I am the tight end whisperer. They drafted Sam Laporta to replace Hawkinson, 34th overall. That's pretty darn high for a tight end to get drafted. So.
Yeah,
keep your radar up for Sam Laporta. If his targets start to creep up, maybe you look at him. If your tight end is crappy, so that's all I'll say.
I have a feeling that we'll be talking about Sam Laporta more in the 2024 offseason.
Yeah, most likely, because they still have that. I think his name's like Brock Wright, who he was efficient around the end zone. I had amon-ra last year in one of my leagues, and I was like, Detroit touchdown. I was like, Brock Wright, come on, man. Get out of here. But anyways.
At least they didn't kill you with Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison, who basically were clones of each other. They look exactly the same running the ball.
Yeah, and then you had number 2 and number 4. So it kind of looked – it was hard to say, like, wait, which one is that? And then you're like, you have Cook and it's Madison. You're like,
that's exactly it. Well, I had both, right? But I was only starting Cook.
That hurts even more.
Oh, it was delicious pain.
Yeah.
That's a good segue. Speaking of delicious pain, the way that Minnesota's season ended last year was the most delicious pain.
To the Giants.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. But like Kirk throwing like what like he threw like a little like 5-6 yard pass.
The genius, which is Kirk Cousins, who actually is a smart guy, but in that moment he was an idiot because they needed like 10 or 11 yards, and he throws a freaking drag route to TJ Hawkinson like a yard or two past the line of scrimmage, and Xavier McKinney comes up and instantly just brings him out of bounds. Like, it was like, okay, I'm very happy he did it as a Giants fan, but like, idiotic, just stupid. You had better chance at throwing a triple coverage to Justin Jefferson down the field. Like,
yeah,
whatever.
I mean, it's like just and look. And by the way, I know we're already running over. So sue us. We're giving you more content, grinding content.
We're flowing, man. I don't care. We're good.
But like, I was watching some of that. That Netflix doc, the quarterback.
Yeah,
I
haven't seen it at all, but.
So I just watched the one episode and the lightning fast review of that. It is interesting. I did enjoy watching it, although like it's like, does Mariota really need to be in there? Like, it's not really like too interested in what's going on with him, but obviously everybody's there for Patty Mahomes and like, Kirk's never gonna win a Super Bowl, bro. Like he's like I'm sure he's a great guy, like in reality, but like he is the opposite of like got that dog in him. Like he has the most like boring suburban dad energy that's like you can imagine. Like he's like like his wife dressed them. That's why that's why he that's why he looks like that diddly do guy from The Simpsons, whatever the hell his name is, Flanders.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
the no mustache Flanders all time.
Yeah, this is Kirk Cousins, like slick my hair to the side. You're like, oh man, I look my Sunday best. Then he, of course he says, does that well one time though.
Yeah, well, no. So that part was cool. That gave Kirk a couple points for me. But like, man, he's just so lame. He seems like the kind of guy that makes love to his wife through a bed sheet.
Oh, dude. Yeah. It's like the Dave Chappelle. It's like, I'll just put it through this hole right here in my boxers. It's a terrible idea.
And of course, Patrick Mahomes is everything that you know about Patrick Mahomes. Dude, Mahomes, like, obviously Manning rode off into the sunset. Brady rode off into the sunset. Like the Aaron Rodgers is still in the league, but you can tell like he's on the decline. Like the old guard of quarterbacks is going away, but and Mahomes has everything. He has everything. He is just electric, like ability to make plays on the move. He has the arm, he has the intelligence, he has everything except the aura. He doesn't have the aura that the past quarterbacks has. He sounds like not funny Kenny Powers.
Okay, so Vikings.
Oh yeah, sorry, I went on my rant. Apologies. But that just triggered it because I remembered that. But yes, let's talk about
Kirk Cousins is on the Vikings, so we can talk about that.
Yes, small wiener through the boxer brief quarterback.
Does he wear boxer briefs or does he go full tighty whitey?
Oh, yeah, he's got to be tighty whities. He's tighty whities. That's how Jesus intended you to have underwear.
A fruit of the loomer.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Buys them in bulk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He goes down to the local warehouse in Minnesota.
It's getting late. It was a long day at work. Let's talk about these Vikings.
All right, so Vikings, man, Vikings. Kirk Cousins, he's a streamer for the most part. He'll have some really good games. We'll have some really bad games, and bleh. Okay, conversation about Kirk Cousins is done. You want to talk about Justin Jefferson? Is there really even a reason to?
The only reason to talk about Justin Jefferson is just to like slightly fanboy on him a little bit. It's crazy. Like he exploded onto the scene and never stopped. He's the 101 to me. Yeah, I said it. I just don't think there's really like from a fantasy perspective a hole in his game. He is like the unicorn receiver that has both volume and explosion.
He is the best, most safest bet at receiver you can have. Arguably the safest player to pick in fantasy because even if you believe McCaffrey is the 101, well, he's had some injury history and he plays a more injury-prone position. So if anybody takes Justin Jefferson 101, I don't even care about the format. Like, even if it is standard, guy puts up the number, the yardage and touchdown totals that it's probably fine. So we don't play that. We play half PPR, which is the right way to play fantasy. And yeah, I mean, hey, you taking him at the 101, cool, good decision. Moving on.
So yeah, I think that's all we really need to say. Like, and obviously, like I think the 101's a little nebulous, right? That's just my personal feelings about it. Partially because I'm jealous, so I'm not going to get him. But like, let's talk about I guess some players that would probably have more question marks around them.
Yeah.
So they drafted a receiver high this year.
Yep.
One that I think we both agree has some juice.
Yeah. He's good.
What's your thoughts on Addison?
I like Addison. I mean, he's gonna their passing volume is enough to support him. And Kirk Cousins is a capable player. He's a good quarterback. And he's not going to run the ball much. So if they're going to gain yards, it's going to be one of the running backs, it's going to be the receivers, or it's going to be Hawkinson. So he's not going to gain yards with his feet. Let's put it that way.
He's
very rare.
Guy.
So, I mean, let's go ahead. I'm going to look up his stats since he's been on the Vikings, and all I care about is his pass attempts. So, Kirk Cousins, let's see. Pass attempts last year, he threw the ball 643 times last year, which is a ton. The year before that, 561. The year before that, 516.
It's a new NFL. It's a new NFL, man.
2018, he threw the ball 606 times, and he missed a game in 2019, and they threw the ball 444 times. So that was more of an outlier. So you're going to get basically 550 passing attempts. Yeah, that's enough. 200 of those, almost 200 of those are going to Justin Jefferson. And split the rest amongst how you will. But I think Jordan Addison is going to get close to 100 targets. Maybe he catches, I'm going to say maybe let's just say he gets 95 targets and he catches 70 passes. He's going to be good. He's going to be a good flex guy.
This season, that's like 700, 800 yards, mix in like
5 or 6 touchdowns maybe. He's not small. I mean, he's small, but he's not short. So but the thing is, he's probably not the red zone guy because you have.
Do you think Osborne or Rager
Rager? No, Rager, get the hell out. Osborne, yeah, I mean, Osborne is going to be involved as their fourth option because TJ Hawkinson is going to be used a lot too. They showed that last year. I mean, he showed that he's going to be targeting Hawkinson. He's a great safety valve for him. Hawkinson's a chain mover. They're going to use him a lot. So I think they have like I think they have a team of receivers. You've got Jefferson, who's everything, including a possession guy if he needs to be. He's like a super possession guy. And then you've got a great possession tight end, and you got another really good projected out to be a really good possession receiver in Jordan Addison. I mean, the guy won the Biletnikoff Award the year he was, I believe he was in Pittsburgh, his last year in Pittsburgh before he went to USC. And he's just proven his route running is good. He is going to earn targets. He's absolutely going to earn targets. So yeah, I like Addison as the
best way that he earns targets is double coverage on JJ.
Yeah, and that doesn't even that's part of it. Even though Jefferson can beat double coverage all day, he proves that. But yes, it is going to be his life being drafted as the opposite receiver of Justin Jefferson instantly got easier as an NFL path to success in the NFL. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's going to be a solid wide receiver 4. Maybe he makes it up to a wide receiver 3 range for you, but he's probably going to be startable in the flex. I feel good about Addison.
Sweet. So let's actually, believe it or not, I'm going to bring up a tight end. Because I think it's actually a relevant conversation now. Hawk. What do you think about this ADP, man? I mean, he's getting right now. I disagree with this personally. I'll just leave with that. They have him as a tier 1 guy, ahead of the Kittles, the Goddards, and the Wallers and the Pitts of the world. Where are you at with that?
Well, I disagree with the tiering. There's one person in tier 1. That's it.
Yeah.
So whatever. But tier 2, sure, I guess so. I don't want Hawkinson, dude. At his ADP,
not the cost.
Yeah, at his ADP, hell no. I'm not touching him. He won't be on any of my teams. Unless he really falls in our no tight end required league, to like the 7th round, then up, if I like him more than the receivers there, I guess maybe, but no, I don't want Hawkinson.
Yeah, that's wild to me, man. Like, I just don't understand how, like I get it. He's a talented player on a high-powered offense. We just talked about the fact that Kirk is going to throw the ball a ton. We get that. He's going to get some of that. He's going to move chains for them. But no, I mean, like, give me Dallas Goedert 2 rounds later. I'm good.
Dude, like with the tight end position, I think you have to talk about guys that have a path to being a top 3. Because if you're talking about number 1 and 2, Kelsey's 1, that goes without saying. 2 is questionable to me. I don't think Mark Andrews necessarily has to be the 2. I think he has the highest chance of being the 2, but I'm not
3 or 4 guys that could fight for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look later in the draft and I see somebody like a Darren Waller who's, call me what you will if you want a homer, but he's projecting out to be the top target for New York.
Yeah.
For the Giants. There's 2 New York teams. For the Giants. So, like, to me, that's important. I know Daniel Jones hasn't been the 4,000, 5,000 yard passer, but you're talking about a tight end who's going to be the number 1 target for their team?
Waller, to me, is the most talented pass catcher they have.
It is.
So that is interesting. Like, of course, you got to bake in the injury risk because that's always, kind of something that's followed him around.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I completely hear you on that.
But just talking about guys who have a chance to do it.
I don't think Hawkinson has that chance, and that's why he's a tier 2 guy for me.
To be top 3 or top 2?
He definitely doesn't have a chance to be top 2. I guess you could make the argument he could be top 3. I just don't, dude. Like Justin Jay, like he's just going to have so much gravity of targets that I think TJ Hawkinson is a complement in that offense, and he's not featured in that offense. In my very humble fantasy opinion.
Yeah, I mean you've got the ultimate target hog over there in Justin Jefferson. But okay, man, let me flip the script on you then. I'm playing the name game.
Let's do it. We haven't talked about Alex Madison at all.
No, we will. I just want to wrap up this conversation with TJ.
Okay.
So who are you taking? TJ or Kittle?
With ADP considered.
With ADP considered.
Okay.
Who'd you rather have?
Kittle. I think Kittle, it's within the realm of possibility that he has a resurgence and gives me a top 2, top 3 season.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy was targeting him a lot. So
yeah.
I think Debo was out, but still, I mean, yeah. That Shanahan offense is perfect for him. All right, well, Kyle Pitts or Hawk?
Hawk.
Okay. Goddard, I think you already said that. You'd rather have Goddard.
Mm-hmm.
Waller or Hawkinson?
With ADP considered, give me Waller.
Everything's with ADP.
Yeah.
Freiermuth?
Give me the Muth.
Give me the Muth. All right. And last one I'll do is Evan Ingram, who's like what? 8th round pick right now, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that and this is I think it's going to come across as like, oh, I hate Hawkinson as a player. I don't. It's just when you bake in the ADP, I just feel like my team build is going to be so much better getting one of those guys later. Where it's like, I think Evan Ingram can potentially give me like comp. I know Ingram is going to disappoint some people in fantasy, by the way. Like, he is not going to give you what he gave you in that 3 or 4 week stretch for a whole season.
No.
We've seen
he's going to be up and down. His whole career he's been up and down. He's going to be up and down.
I'm talking to a man right here that has seen this movie with Evan Ingram before, but I think that he has enough upside where he's being drafted that yes, my team is going to be better waiting on the position. If it's like give me Travis or give me Death when it comes to tight ends.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that feel that way, and it makes sense in a lot of ways because, man, the opportunity cost for it sucks.
Yeah,
but you're still so happy when you're outscoring your opponent by like 20 plus tight end position.
It's like you're playing against freaking.
I had to pick up Hunter Henry this week. It's like, oh,
Henry, Gerald Everett.
Yeah. You pray for a touchdown, but we already know all that. So yeah, Hawkinson to me is just way too rich. I think he's being overrated maybe not overrated as a player. He's being overdrafted. He's being overvalued to me.
He's the new thing. He moved from Detroit to Minnie.
Yeah. And yeah, it's funny too. In division trade is weird.
I found that to be really weird.
So talk about your boy Alex Madison.
He is my boy. I think he's being underdrafted. I don't understand it. He's still a relatively young back. In terms of an ascending player, right? And what I mean when I say ascending player is that the incumbent for years was Dalvin Cook. We talked about at length about the running back thing earlier. He's gone. He's out of town. The backfield is his at this point. But the crazy thing with Madison is that we've actually seen a really good sample size of what it looks like when that backfield belongs to him, which is highly productive. If he's not Dalvin Cook, he's Dalvin Koo. He's like 90% of what Dalvin Cook is, in my opinion, or what he's been able to do. And yes, I agree with the argument that okay, when Dalvin Cook is out of town and you have the target on your back and they have the tape on you, can things be a little bit harder for you? Sure. But it's a vote of confidence that they've shown in him that they, didn't really bring anybody in of note to compete with him. And, they've always been comfortable giving him a full workload. So I like Alex Madison. Everybody who's ever played fantasy with me knows that I have this obsession with Alex Madison. So good luck drafting him over me.
Yeah. I like Alex Madison. I think that he's undervalued, but slightly. I don't think that he's crazy undervalued. In that range, you got guys he's got Terry, and Fantasy Pros has Terry McLaurin going under him, and I'm like, by one spot, not much, but I'm like, nah, I trust Terry McLaurin more.
Why is that?
Judy, huh?
Why is that?
I know that Terry McLaurin is a stud receiver, and I think Alex Madison, I would consider him like a above average starter in terms of talent. I don't think he's a stud. I think he's above average talent, which is more than enough to get it done if you have the opportunity at running back. But I'd rather trust what I feel is closer to an elite talent, or at least a stud talent. Elite maybe is too strong of a word, but a stud at the receiver spot. So you also got guys like this. So this is where I don't agree. Dameon Pierce is going above Alex Madison. A non-pass catching back on a mediocre is probably saying too much for the Texans offense. No. You got guys you got Cam Akers above him. It's like, okay, maybe he's in the same range to me. I think Cam Akers is better than he gets credit for, but I probably would still take the flyer on Madison versus.
Well, yeah, I mean, since you kind of already are like doing the name game, I think that's all fair. I guess for me, I think that and I'll be my own devil's advocate against Alex Madison, because I think I get it for people. There is no mystery of explosive upside with him. Like, we know exactly who he is, which is a career, like probably, I don't have it in front of me, but slightly above 4 a carry, on some decent volume. He had his lowest volume season last year. Haha. Even though I went 3 for 3 on him in all my leagues, because Cook had his healthiest season, and they rewarded Cook's healthiest season with kicking his ass out the door. Yeah, so like I think that what's the terminology you always use? Take your medicine. I think he's a take your medicine starting running back on a good offense that is going to be reasonably productive. And I think that if he's costing you a 4th or 5th round pick, I think that's fair. I think that's really fair.
I'm fine with that. If my team shakes out, like, okay, let's just say, okay, so let's say I have if I pick him in the 5th round, right? And I don't know, I take Cooper Kupp, Josh Jacobs, Chris Olave. Maybe that's too high, whatever. But you get what point I'm trying to make. And then I take Justin Herbert, and then I get Madison or something like that. I'm fine with him as my RB2. I feel comfortable with him.
Yeah,
he's on a high-scoring offense.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he's a safe RB2 that's being drafted as an RB2. But yeah, I think that
I like his range.
Yeah, I mean, look, like, so there are some guys right now that I'll tell you, like, DeAndre Swift is not a safe RB2. He's getting drafted as an RB2. Rashad White, I think, is going to have plenty of volume, but like that offense could potentially be like really bad.
Rashad White has a chance of being one of the bigger busts at the running back position.
That's very fair. As much as that makes me sad, that's fair. Should we play name game on the rest of these fools and wrap it up?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
No need to play name game on Justin J. I think that's I think we kind of know.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to take Jamar Chase because you feel like the explosive plays are there more, then I won't fault you for it, but I'm not doing it.
And by the way, I'm using hyperbole. If you want to go with the more traditional build and grab a McCaffrey or an Eckler prior to Justin J, I'm completely fine with that too. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
But
I think where we're at as a fantasy community right now is that if you take one of McCaffrey, Jefferson, Chase, no one's gonna fault you for that. I think that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we used to split hairs a lot more, but I think that people are starting to learn and see that there's more than one way to skin the fantasy cat. Mm-hmm. And you don't just have to draft insert sexy running back from last year here. Like, you can do it all different ways. Obviously the running back still is good, but I think the more interesting name game is going to be around Addison. So let's do that. Actually, this is a really interesting range. I kind of like this. All right, Addison or Jahan Dotson?
Give me Addison because the quarterback situation for Washington is weird.
Agreed. Same reason. Addison or George Pickens?
That one's pretty close, but I'm going to take Addison.
I'm going to take Pickens. I like Pickens. And even though I think Addison on his offense has more upside, I would take Pickens because I've seen his talent at the NFL level. Like, I know that he's got juice because, we've seen it. And I think there's a chance that he surpasses Deontay and becomes the number one. So I'll take that in that case. Rookie on rookie crime. Addison or JSN?
Addison.
Addison. Agreed.
JSN's not usurping the two incumbents there.
Not yet, certainly.
He needs an injury. Addison, I don't think does.
Okay, so let's see. Let's do some different positions. Again, team build, independent. Like, treat this like a vacuum.
I know.
You could go away.
We're good.
Addison or Khalil Herbert?
Addison.
Okay. Yeah. Give me that upside. Addison or James Cook?
I'll take the shot on James Cook there.
I would too. I've been burned by Buffalo's RB1 for 4 straight years. Why not make it 5? Let's get it. So what do we think about that range there, Andrew? Like, how are you feeling about that in terms of value?
I think that range has a lot of value to be had. You're kind of like forced to make this decision in that range of, am I going to go with the safe, boring pick, or am I going to go with the extreme risk reward pick?
Yeah.
And typically I'm a risk reward guy. If I'm taking my shots in the 9th, 10th round, these are guys that I'm fine dropping after week 1. So at least let me take this shot on the upside, Yeah.
And look, risk reward takes different forms, right? Because risk reward can be like, okay, like, I don't think that this guy is ever going to be great for me, but if I have the opportunity to take a starting running back in the 9th round, an NFL starting running back, and have some stability at that position, that's a risk reward scenario too, because week 2, McCaffrey, his foot starts turning the wrong way, and you could be very happy that you took your medicine with a quote unquote safe pick. So there's conversations to be had around it. That's why fantasy is so much fun. And I think with that, we are done with the NFC North marathon. Brace yourselves. The North is coming. Brace yourselves. The long episode is coming.
Well, one more question I do have.
Yeah.
Who would you consider to be your biggest bust in the division?
Biggest bust in the division. Okay. Caveat, not our league, standard league with no keeper eligibility. Actually, I think it's Jameson Williams. I think he's awesome, but I think that by the time he starts being awesome, it will be too late for your fantasy team.
Okay, so that's your biggest bust. Who is your best value of this division?
I mean, it's hard to say like necessarily the best, but okay.
Who comes to mind?
Yeah. I mean, like, I think we literally said this earlier, so I'll just double down on it. I keep ending up with Fields in a lot of my mocks. I'm getting Fields in a lot of mocks. I like his range right now.
Yeah.
Please stop talking about him so it stops driving him up.
Yeah, well, I don't think our podcast really pulls any weight.
Right.
Maybe one day. But okay. So I agree with you on the value of Field. I like that a lot. I had talked about some of the Packers. I think Watson's a good value. I think Aaron Jones is a good value. But I think this is my biggest value. I think it's David Montgomery. I think he's going to fall into the end zone over 10 times this year.
That's a good one.
If you're getting 10 touchdowns and solid yardage, even if it's not 1,000, from like an 7th, 8th round pick, that's a friggin' steal. And my biggest bust, we kind of already talked about it, but TJ Hawkinson. I don't want a tight end at that range who's like a glorified possession receiver. I don't think he's going to have the volume. I think he's going to be good, but he's not going to be good enough at the tight end spot to move the needle for your team.
That's going to feel the worst. It's really going to feel the worst because
you're pot committed to him when you draft him there.
Right. That's the thing about tight ends too. I hate tight ends. I hate them. But that's the thing about tight ends is because yes, he will probably finish as a top 5 tight end. You draft him to be a top 5 tight end, he probably will. But you're going to look to the left and you're going to look to the right after 10 weeks and you're going to be like, damn, my 3rd round pick is averaging 7.5 fantasy points a game. His 1st round pick is averaging 14.
Or his 3rd round. His 3rd round, you know?
Yeah.
But yes, you're exactly. That's exactly it, man. The opportunity cost there is way too high. He is not moving the needle for your team at that spot. He's just not. And you know what? Maybe I'll have my foot in my mouth come week 5, but whatever. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Well, that and I agree with it. So we'll ride together off that cliff. Never TJ.
All right, man. Well, been a great episode. It was cool. We had Cory joining us, Ultra Bears fan, pulling for him, but we kind of already did it. They're going to be last in the division. I think Detroit has a chance of winning the division. I still think it's going to be the Vikings, but Detroit's got a shot. So
Detroit will be fun, but they're going to be about 500. Minnesota's going to be great all year. They're going to choke in the playoffs. Green Bay is going to fully bottom out and look for their next franchise quarterback to torture their fan base for the next decade. And the Bears, I'm sorry, Cory, they're going to keep being the Bears. Love you all. Stay frosty.
Peace out, y'all.